Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be building a $600 premium custom mechanical keyboard. It's been a while since I properly sat down and built a premium board, but I am really glad to be back. So let's get started. This is the Alpine65. It's a 65% gasket mounted keyboard designed by Bitmap Studios and is priced at $315 US. It comes with a gray carrying case and it feels really high quality. The exterior of the case has a dark gray finish with a fabric texture and it's built pretty well. The interior of the case is matte black and it also has a small compartment for any cables or accessories along with two Velcro straps on the bottom to help secure the board in place, which I think is very important. So overall, the build quality of the case is great, and I really appreciate the minimal design of the case because it totally fits with the minimal aesthetic of the Alpine65. But I do wish that it came with a handle just to make it easier to bring around and hold. The Alpine65 also comes with some very nice accessories. We're firstly greeted with a Bitmap Studios envelope, and I apparently have the 40th Alpine65 in the world, which is pretty cool. And of course, we also have some foam gasket strips as well as some screws for the case. Additionally, we have two plates, one aluminum plate and one palm plate. The plate you end up using is up to your personal preference. I'm going to be using the palm plate because in my opinion, it sounds better than aluminum, and it also provides a softer typing experience, which is something I personally like in my builds. We also have a blue hot swap PCB. It has a standard ANSI layout, which is my personal favorite, and the PCB also uses Kale hot swap sockets. And I never say this about a PCB, but I love how this looks. The shade of blue is great, and even though I'm not going to see it when it's fully built, I just appreciate how nice this looks. And of course, we have the Alpine65 itself. I have the E-white version because white keyboards always look really nice, so it was a pretty easy choice. It comes with two pieces of foam included, one for the case and another for the plate and PCB. I really like that they've included both types as it allows us to have a little more flexibility with our builds, which is always great. We also have the Alpine badge engraved on the top right of the case, as well as the unique brass weight on the back. Both of these fit perfectly with the E-white case, but I especially love how the brass weight seamlessly integrates itself into the back of the case. The brass weight also has an amazing matte finish, and it definitely adds a lot to the overall aesthetic of the board. The only thing that is a little bit annoying is the branding. We have 3 instances of the logo just slapped onto the keyboard, and at some point it just feels a little bit excessive. It doesn't ruin the board, but still it's just a little much. Alright, let's move on to our switches. For today's build, we're going to be using JWK Lavenders. These switches have a nylon top, nylon bottom housing with a palm stem and a gold-plated 65-gram spring. I've seen the switches in so many builds and I have always wanted to use them in my own builds, so today I finally get to try them out and I am very excited. As for the keycaps, we're going to be using GMK Botanical. This is a set that went on group buy in 2020 and I actually didn't join, which was a huge mistake on my part, so I had to get this off of the aftermarket. Unfortunately, I did not get my hands on the novelties or the desk mat, so I am just going to be using the base kit for today's video. And if you want to get your hands on your own GMK Botanical, the group buy is actually open right now. The group buy for GMK Botanical 2 will be available until August 13th, so if you want to get your own set, go and join the group buy right now. Link will be in the description below. It is a really nice keycap set and I promise you do not want to miss out on this. Alright, let's start building the board. I always like to start off by holy modding my stabilizers. Usually it takes quite a while, but I learned this really cool trick. So you just get some band-aid, you line it up, and there you go, easy. Next up, we have to lube it with some Krytox 205G0. So just line it up in the middle and just like that. The stabilizers have been fully modded. On a real note, if you do want a proper tutorial on how to mod your stabilizers, check out my video on the holy mod here. So with the stabs fully modded, all I have to do now is screw them onto the PCB. But before we move on, it's always good practice to test out the stabilizers, so let's do a little stabilizer test to see if they've been tuned properly. It sounds pretty good, but you may also notice that it sounds a little bit mushy, and with the holy mod that is completely normal. You just have to use it and over time it will go away and it will sound a lot better. Also, please keep in mind that stabilizers are pretty hard to do sometimes. Please just be patient with it and try to spend a lot of time on your stabilizers because they will make or break your build. And now time for the switches. Once again, I am using lavenders that have been filmed with Desky switch films. If you're not familiar, filming a switch is when you add a small plastic film in between the housings to make them tighter, to reduce stem wobble, and to also make the switch sound better. Unfortunately, the film lavenders were so tight that they had a hard time going into the palm plate, so I had to use a lot of force to make sure that they were installed properly. The palm plate itself is also a bit narrow on its own, so it made for a very tight fit. And by the time I was done putting in all of the switches, my thumb was completely red and it was really sore. Alright, let's start putting the case together. The case assembly is pretty simple. We start off by installing the 4 rubber feet on the bottom to make sure we don't scratch it, and then we install the gasket strips. The Alpine65 comes with 2 types of foam gasket strips to choose from. We have both thin and thick gasket strips. Whichever one you choose comes down to personal preference, but I'm going to try out both of them for the sound test. So there's actually 2 ways to install gasket foam strips. Some people like to install them onto the plate itself, but I personally prefer installing them onto the case. And this is mainly because if I wanted to try out different plates in the future, I wouldn't have to reuse any gasket strips and it would just be a lot more convenient. The Alpine65 uses a total of 12 gasket foam strips, which are spread out across the case to make the typing experience more even. And now we can put the keyboard together. All I have to do now is place the PCB and plate between the top and bottom housing and screw them together using my wow stick. By the way, I totally recommend you guys pick up a wow stick if you haven't already. It's super convenient. And now for the most satisfying and rewarding part of any build, installing the keycaps. And once we've installed all of the keycaps, the board is pretty much complete. The final build looks absolutely amazing. In terms of aesthetics alone, it's probably one of my favorite custom keyboards I've ever built. It has this beautiful cool white with some green accents, and of course the Alpine65 ties it all together with a beautiful brass weight and the badge on the top right. The board also feels great to type on. It has a very comfortable layout, and the gasket mount has done a great job of making the board feel a little bouncy and soft. The front slip on the board is a little bit high though, so I have to use a wrist rest to make the typing experience more comfortable. This is a wooden wrist rest from Glorious. It's super comfortable, really high quality. I really like it, so I definitely recommend you guys pick one up. Alright, let's take a look at the sound test, and as always, please let me know your personal favorite configuration in the comments below. So in terms of the overall sound and feel, my personal configuration is with the thick gaskets and with the bottom case foam. The thick gaskets make the typing experience a lot softer and it's more comfortable to type on. And the thick case foam does a really good job of making sure that there's no pinging in the case when I'm typing. Personally, I didn't really like the thin gaskets, but it really just comes down to personal preference. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please do consider subscribing and pressing the like button. And as always, feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Hamaji and my Discord server, discord.gg/Hamaji. A big thank you to all of these amazing members. I love all of you. Thank you. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.